I'm going to hand it over to you, and everyone out there enjoy.
Okay, sounds great. I just want to introduce myself. I didn't get a chance to do that last night. So my name is April Megginson, and you can find more out about me on my website. It's April Renee, which is my middle name, aprilreneeyoga.co. Make sure it's not .com, because your computer will probably change it to that. So make sure if it's not the correct site, it's .co. I am a certified yoga therapist and have been since the certification came out. About 5 years ago. And I'm also an NLP practitioner, which we're going to work a little bit with that today. If you know anything about neuro-linguistic programming, we're going to use a few trans-derivational search questions in order to kind of clear out some old beliefs about our strength, about our center. So this is called unlocking your potential by meeting your center. So, and also I'm a certified life coach. So I'm just gonna draw out of all of these things, these practices, and we're gonna have a really fun time, I'm hoping. So you can actually start lying all the way down on the floor. And if you see a little doggy running around, just kind of ignore him. He's my little treasure, but sometimes he gets a little rowdy. So go ahead and lie on your back on the floor. And we're going to start here with you getting just very grounded. We're going to have a very strong practice today. So what I want you to keep in mind is that we're challenging ourselves. Anytime you need to come out of a pose, we're going to have some really long holds. We'll be bone building. We'll be using a lot of our strength and accessing this potential. Now, just know that you can take a breath, and then if you need to come out, come back in. Okay, so we're going to be shaking, we're going to be burning, all of these things, but we're going to do it in a way that gets us out of our joints. So we'll be going into this idea of effortless effort. So we'll be accessing our deep center, and we'll be relaxing places that don't need to be accessed, like our jaws and our tongues and between our eyebrows. So we're kind of moving into this really natural idea. If you think about an animal in the wild, you think about this incredible grace and efficiency of motion and this power and strength as they, rippling across the savanna or up a tree if you're a squirrel, or, I can watch that in my own puppy. So we are also able to access that kind of potential, and we've seen it in other human beings, such as really high class athletes. When you get in, if you've ever heard of being in the zone, it's this idea. And what I believe and what I've seen in my own body and with my students and clients is that we can access this. This is part of our potential. And so, we need to kind of sweep away a few long held beliefs that if I said to you, do you believe you're this or this? You'd probably say, yes, I am that. However, we just don't know that sometimes these long-held beliefs are there. So again, lying on your back, I'm going to ask a series of what is called trans-derivational questions or trans-derivational searches. And all this is if you've ever, been talking to a friend and you say, oh, do you remember that girl's name? Do you remember that person's name? And neither one of you can remember, and you both remember in the shower. Or wherever you are. That's the unconscious mind beginning to access all of this information. So we're moving out of the conscious mind, the 10%, and we're moving into this 90% of the vastness. Now, our logical mind is not going to understand these questions. This is what is really amazing about trans-derivational searches with this behind it, is that we want to confuse the logical mind. And so you're not going to understand the last couple of my questions, and all you're doing is dropping the question in And as we practice, this is like magic. It's amazing. As we practice, your unconscious mind starts to unravel and release these long-held beliefs that we have about ourselves. So just take a few breaths here and just sink down. We're coming into an alpha state of learning, so notice how your breath is slowing. Notice how your heart rate is slowing. Notice how your muscles are relaxing. So the other thing that we're doing here is we're releasing the rigidity of the body before we start to really get into this strong work. So just gently close your eyes, and you can imagine these questions being dropped in your mind, just like pennies being dropped in the well. You drop them in, you don't know where they go, you just let them go. That's all that's happening. So you're gonna probably think with your logical mind, well, I'm really confused. Is this right? Am I understanding? Good, you're the exact place you need to be. All right, so there's just a small series here, and I just like you to really listen as you continue to relax. So what would happen if your body was strong? What wouldn't happen if your body was strong? What would happen if your body wasn't strong? What wouldn't happen if your body wasn't strong? So there's a series of 4 questions. When I get to that last one, it's so rare that anyone can ever answer. And the less you can answer, the less you have this belief around these areas anyway. So if you're already confused by the very first question, then it's not something you need to release, it's already gone. If you can answer a few, then what you know is the unconscious mind is retrieving that information and unraveling it. Because as soon as the unconscious mind realizes something isn't true, this is where the magic is. It releases it completely. What would happen if you were connected to your center? What wouldn't happen if you were connected to your center? What would happen if you weren't connected to your center? And what wouldn't happen if you weren't connected to your center? What would happen if you were aligned and balanced? What would not happen if you were aligned and balanced? What would happen if you weren't aligned and balanced? And what wouldn't happen if you weren't aligned and balanced? Again, the more confused you are, the better this is moving in. And if you're not confused, then that's okay too, because it doesn't matter what our logical mind is thinking. We're dropping this into the well of the 90% unconscious here. And last question, set of questions here. What would happen if you saw yourself as brilliant, powerful, and beautiful? What would happen if you saw yourself as brilliant, powerful, and beautiful? What wouldn't happen if you saw yourself as brilliant, powerful, and beautiful? What would happen if you didn't see yourself as brilliant, powerful, and beautiful? And last confusing question here, and then we'll begin our movement. What wouldn't happen if you didn't see yourself as brilliant, powerful, and beautiful? So we let all that go, and the unconscious will begin to unwind. And by the end, I'd like you to notice, or I'll direct you to notice how much vigor and energy you feel, how dynamic you're feeling. So everyone make 3 fingers here, like together, and then find your belly button and place those 3 fingers directly under your belly button. So a lot of you probably already know where I'm going here. Under that 3rd finger, you're going to find what Chinese medicine calls the lower dantian. In Japanese, it's the hara, which means belly, but I'm going to use the word dantian because I love it. It means essence, essence. So this area is considered the superior ultimate treasure. Known as the golden stove. I love this. I love these words. It's the foundation of balance, of breathing, of rooted standing, of full body awareness. It's the root of the tree of life. It's the sun in our belly. It's our power center. So that area is where we'll be working out of. We're watching how to unlock this potential of this effortless effort of being in our body by moving from this center place, by living out of the center place. I've taught a lot of trainings in the past that talk about the pelvic sun and how the rest of the body are rays off of that sun. And if that sun is accessed and well, so is the rest of our bodies. So now I'd just like to do a little PNF work, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. You won't be quizzed on that later, but that's something if you want to look up what it is. I use that a lot in my work. I find it very, very profound and potent. So when you're ready, press your heels down into the floor. Now I want you to notice immediately what rigidity you brought into that. Did you press out through the heels and do the yoga move where you bring the toes towards the shins? Don't do that. That's not part of this pose. That's not part of our center body powering up. So we're powering up, literally, just one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. Feel the back body as that posterior chain from your heels, that powerful connection between your heels and your glutes turn on. Squeeze those glutes together. Now drop that lower belly, that lower abdomen down towards the floor. So you're maybe touching the floor or close to the floor. And then upper rib cage starts to, lower back rib cage, excuse me, starts to press into the floor as well. What I want you to notice here is that those two areas really pull together to make one full engagement. Now, when your lower rib cage rotates down, your shoulders sometimes come with it. So now press into your shoulder blades from your chest, from your front body, where again, it's this idea of effortless effort. You're going to hear me say that a lot. It's about efficiency, economy of motion, dynamic stillness, because pushing is stronger than pulling. So we don't use our trapezius where we're always stressed out. We don't use the back of our neck. We use our strong postural muscles of our pecs, our chest. So press down. And then really, I'd like you to do this really mindfully so that you can do it well. We're going to revisit this. So from the very back of your throat, press into the back of your head. That's where you're moving from. Take a nice deep breath here. And then on this next exhale, I want you to release everything at once. Let's say skillful relaxation. Skillful. If you notice, we could power up very quickly. It's really skillful to relax everything at once. And that's a practice you can do just lying in bed. You can do it at night. You can do it in the morning. You can do it in the middle of the night when you wake up. One more time, I want you to feel this. Press those heels into the floor. Power up hamstrings. All the way up to glutes. Squeeze those glutes. Drop that belly down and in. Drop that low back of your rib cage down so that you really engage that center. Drop your shoulders down from your chest. Pull your head back. Press into whatever your head is lying on. And then take that nice deep breath. Relax. Skillful release. Skillful release. We're going to continuously work on that. So check in with the captain of your nervous system ship, your face. We're going to be doing tons of body scanning the whole time because what we're doing is we're releasing all of these things that don't need to be there so we can come into our own energy, our own vigor, our own life force. I like to talk about how if we have all of our apps up on our phones are going to run out of battery very quickly. And that's what happens in our bodies. All of our apps are up all day. We're gripping, our mind's going, our breath's shallow, our heart rate is up. And so, of course, we're drained at the end of the day. So how can we preserve our own potency? How? That's what we're doing. So bend your knees here and draw your knees up, feet on the floor. Now, if you have a block, that's fine. Don't grab a blanket or some such thing, because we are going to be using that in a moment. So we're going to access the belly here, the hara. I want you to feel this first before we move out of this. When we stand up, we're going to stand up in a moment. So when you're ready, take that belly button and press that belly button down towards the floor and press into your low back. So your low back now is flat. Now check in with your jaw, with your tongue, with your shoulders. Mine were just up. So just notice that that habit is there for the shoulders to want to do all the work. I call the shoulders the Labrador retrievers of our bodies. They're like, please let me do it. Please let me do it. So drop those shoulders down and keep the power in the belly. Take a nice deep breath and relax. One more time. Drop that belly down, low back presses. Shoulder blades are soft, jaw is soft, eyes are soft. Breath is full. We're breathing into our diaphragm now. All right, and then relax. Now, this is a little bit more subtle, so take your time here, and you can watch me. Wrap your hands around your rib cage so that your fingers are in the front, your thumbs are in the back, your palms are on the side, and then drop your shoulders down as much as they'll go. And then manually rotate that rib cage down towards your hips. Feel how that cinches up your upper belly. So feel that rib cage dropping down. The back of the rib cage may be touching the floor here. And then drop your hands. Because again, I want your shoulders to be nice and soft. Want this all coming from your center, unlocking this. So we have to feel where it is first before we can unlock anything, before we can move out of it. Take a nice deep breath and relax. Ooh, that big, deep, natural breath came through. See if that happens for you. And then again, one more time, rotate that rib cage down. And the reason I'm using the rib cage as a marker here is because we can connect with our bones sometimes more quickly than our muscles. What we're really doing is engaging our upper abs to rotate that rib cage down. Nice deep breath and relax. Again, see what comes through. The natural breath comes through. Now, both together. So, drop that belly down and in, and then also rotate that rib cage down. So now your whole low back is on the floor. Notice if you're gripping through your toes. I just was, so I've got to relax. That's a habit that we have. We can relax that habit. It's not doing anything for our center. So, we're starting to concentrate the potency in this area versus having it scattered into the shoulders, scattered into the jaw, scattered into the tops of the feet. Take a nice deep breath and relax. Big deep breath comes through maybe. And then one more time on an exhale, drop both in. So what we're doing here is we're knitting upper and lower abs together so that we create one whole. Now, the really interesting thing that I talk about as you're holding this and feeling it is that our spine is primarily supported from our front body. We have a lot of muscles in our belly. We have so many layers of abdominals, and then also our glutes. So I consider that part of our center, although we are working very specifically with the belly right now. Take a nice deep breath and relax. Good. Take some windshield wipes. Keep your belly engaged as you windshield wipe over to the other side so your low back doesn't pull you. Again, it's all about locomotion. It's about the pushing aspect and protecting that low back. So already we're working with posture here because we're lying down. We're kind of getting out of all these spiral positions. We've already done one postural movement when we press our back bodies into the floor. All right, come back to center here. And now Now, watch me very closely, because if you haven't done this before, it's going to be strange, but it is pretty intense. So knit that upper and lower belly together, press into the floor. So we're working a little bit of fascia here with movement. Lift your right leg up. Make sure your knee is past your hip, away from you. Foot is not flexed. It doesn't need to be. If you're flexing your foot, that's a kind of a yoga habit that we have. Okay, now notice how much control you get when you press your left shoulder into the floor. You have a diagonal shape of fascia here that we're tuning into. Relax your jaw. Now, watch my left foot. Hover that left foot. Keep pressing your low back down and press into your right shoulder now. I'm going to start shaking here. My voice is going to shake here because this is a pose that is really profound, at least for me, in accessing this center body. And notice, it's not a sit-up. Don't get me started on sit-ups. Please don't ever do another sit-up again. If you do, don't tell me. That's one of my little soapboxes. Okay, so keep pressing down. Again, if you've got to come out of this, like I said in the beginning, take a deep breath, re-engage everything and come back in. Please do. We're holding things for quite a while. I'd like you to notice if you're starting to feel a little fire in the belly. Right under that 3 fingers that we found earlier in the dantian, the power center, the golden stove. I love that analogy. Okay, drop those feet down. Take some windshield wipes of the knees. Remember when you come back through to engage the belly to get your knees over. The root of the legs is in the belly. So we're changing some ideas that we have in our mind. We're brain training. First of all, our front body stabilizes the spine. Second of all, the root of the legs is in the belly, our sun. Okay, come back to center. This time we switch sides. Drop that belly down and in, upper and lower, unite. Lift that left leg up. Again, this left leg is nice and kind of calm. It's not, there's a lot of strength there, but it's not gripping anymore. It's not rigid. It's strong and not rigid. Now, press into your right shoulder blade. Feel that fascial connection, that half of an X. We'll power up the other half in a moment. And then hover that right foot. It's only about 2 or 3 inches. And then press into your left shoulder blade. Now, this is not easy, and you're going to hear my voice start to shake too. I do this all the time. Somebody asked me one time, I do a lot of core work every day, and this is intense. Does it ever get easier? And I'm like, not for me, it hasn't. So this is a really, really healthy pose. This pose is very therapeutic because we're not pressing into anything, we're not going into any other habits, and we're accessing our center directly. So let that right foot hover. The more you let it hover, the more intense. And also, I meant to say this last time, if you lengthen that left foot out, it needs to be at 45 degrees. Don't drop lower. Also, don't cheat and bring that knee in. Okay, drop that foot down. Take the moment. Have that moment of yoga where that big breath comes in and you feel this delight in having released that. And then take some nice windshield wipes. So that's something that I recommend every day if you feel like you want to access this center body. It's very easy. You just lie down and it's incredibly effective. Okay, if you have a block, find that block. If not, just find a rolled up blanket or something like that. Place that between the knees. Not between the thighs, up between the knees. Now, we get very, very curious and notice that our knees are directly over our heels. So we're moving into bridge, but not like a bridge that you've probably done before unless you've worked with me. So feel the tripod of the foot, the big toe mound, pinky toe mound, center of the heel on both feet. Lift your toes up to access that more fully. Drop the toes down like feathers here, and then press into the inner feet. So there's this line of energy that starts to happen in the inner legs. Press into your block, feel your glutes engage. Now, rotate that rib cage down, press into the floor, drop your shoulders down. You're not going as high as you normally would here. Press into your feet and lift up. So I've got a really deep back bend, and this is as far as I can go here. So you're not lifting up far at all, just a couple inches, because if you're lifting up, that means your belly isn't engaged. Your belly is keeping you from going into a really big back bend because we're strengthening right now. Keep pressing into the inner feet. Hold here. Again, our diaphragm is really activated here so that we can keep our bellies engaged and still have these magnificent breaths. Keep pressing into the inner feet, pressing into the block, engaging glutes, they squeeze together. Upper and lower belly stay engaged. Shoulders are soft here. Notice if your shoulders are coming towards the wall. Just drop them down and work with that. Check in with the face, jaw, tongue. We're staying here, and if you'd like to move with me here, you can stay here, you can drop down and come back in, or you can start to pulse. So those knees come together and pulse, just slight pulses. Feel the power of your legs. Feel the strength of your legs. Keep your belly engaged. Feel that potency, that vigor, that invigorating feeling in the belly. Notice that when we move well with intention, we feel great. I mean, this is challenging, but it's meant to be. Keep the jaw nice and soft. Feel how strong you are. Feel those ideas about your strength melting away. Physical strength has so much to do with emotional strength and resilience. It's so much to do with mental strength and resilience. If we think we're weak in our physical bodies, we're going to have, you know, a more interesting time in the other places. So we're really unlocking what you already have here. Keep pulsing. We're still here. Woo! Again, if you need to come out, I want you to take one breath before you are absolutely done. Notice that you can take that breath and maybe you can keep going after that. If not, come out and come back in. Keep pressing, keep pulsing. Okay, drop down, grab that block, and then take some nice windshield wipes here. Again, the root of the belly, legs is in the belly, engage the belly all the way back over. You're not tugging with your low back here, you're powering over with your belly. Keep going. Okay, now lengthen your legs one more time. Press into your heels. Feel your, now I want you to feel something a little different here. Press into your heels, check the top of your feet. Are they over engaged? The energy's going there instead of the bigger muscles of the legs. Check into that. See if one is pressing more than the other. My left is pressing a little more than my right. So I'm going to align that a little bit more. Now, engage your thighs, your front body. So you feel your calves, your hamstrings, and now your thighs in the front body engage. Now squeeze your glutes. Again, drop that belly down and in, rotate that rib cage down. Drop your shoulders, press into your shoulders and into the back of your head. Now, stay here and refine. I like to talk about this pose as like a sculpture. So we take the raw rock, we make the pose, and then we start to refine and whittle away. So what do we not need to be engaging? I'm shaking already in this pose. So if you're shaking, you're right with me. However, what I'm refining is the tops of my feet don't need to be that intense. My jaw doesn't need to help me out here. I can engage my right glute a little bit more than I am. I can engage my belly a little bit more than I am. I can press a little bit more with the back of my throat and not the tops of my shoulders. Now, pretend that you're standing. Flip yourself up. Don't do it literally. Feel like you're standing. We'll revisit this as our last pose. It is strong. Nice deep breath. Relax everything at once. Feel that big, spacious breath come through. Okay, now sit up for a moment and then get your elbows directly under your shoulders. Bend your knees. We're moving into a modified boat pose. If you want to come into full boat pose after this, and we're going to do it twice. So do this one with us first, and then you can go into a full Navasana boat pose. Now, stack your elbows directly. We're building bone here. So as we start to take our shape up and change it under gravity, we're really being very mindful to stack well. Now, drop that belly down and in. You're not hunching over with your shoulders. So don't collapse. It's this idea of getting out of our joints. Lift that heart up. You can already feel the serratus anterior working. And then knit your hips towards your rib cage. Feel that zip up. When you're ready, lift your legs. Gaze is right at the toes here. Now, I'd like you to start to notice if you can feel really light in your elbows, which is interesting. So when you're light in your elbows, guess what? You're stacking your bones well and you're not dumping into your joints. Keep holding here. Again, noticing that dantian. Is there truly a little sun there that feels warm? There is for me. We are still holding. Yes, we are. Check in with the energy in the tops of the feet and the toes. It doesn't really need to be there. This is all coming from our center. Feel how that is the case. Drop those feet down, and if you'd like to take a windshield wipe, you certainly can. Ooh, that feels good. It feels so joyful to come out of these poses because we've challenged ourselves and our body kind of loves that. Okay, now, if you know Navasana or full boat pose, come into that. Otherwise, you're going to join me for our next one here. So again, you're not dropping, you're pressing up, pressing up. Chin is nice and kind of dropping here too, so that the back of there's not a lot of pressure on the jaw or the back of the head. See how light you can get in your elbows. Engage your belly. We go into this before, we set ourselves up well before we even do anything. And then lift your knees, lift your feet. Keep pressing up through the chest. Head is nice and soft, feet are nice and soft. The center is doing the heavy lifting. That's what it's meant to do. Now, if you'd like to, you can lengthen your legs out to give yourself a little more challenge here. If you're challenged enough, stay with me here. Check in with jaw. What can you refine? What can you refine? We take these poses as their raw form and we distill, we distill, we distill. We crack open the habits. We sculpt away these old beliefs that our minds have, even about our bodies, even about how our bodies work. And we come into this new, fresh place. We're still holding. I know. Okay, drop down and take a nice windshield wipe here. We will make our way up to a standing posture. And let's, again, think about what we just did lying down. Recreate that in a way that's much less rigid. So when we do that standing up, it's going to be very rigid. So how can we take those lessons from lying down and pressing into the back body and translate them up to standing? So find the tripod of the feet. Make your legs strong, not rigid. Find what we just found lying down. So pubic bone standing moves up towards your belly button. Feel the top of your glutes engage. Rib cage drops down. So a lot of times we have our low belly engaged and then we're just flaring out like this. I see this posture a lot. This puts a lot of pressure on your low belly and your hip flexors. So unless we have our upper belly engaged as well, we're not doing any good here. So our lower belly meets our upper belly. Notice what happens. You have to take everything back. So shoulder blades drop down. They move back from the chest. They're not moving here. And then head again draws back. This time imagine that you have a little piece of paper that somebody's holding or you yourself is holding that you're just pressing into from the back of the throat. Chin is parallel to the floor and the crown of the head is lifting. Feel how when the crown of the head lifts from the very center body, from that spine, feel how the crown of the head lifts and just kind of elongates us. So we're rooted, we're stable, and we're also expansive. We're going to work with this a little bit further. So if you have a block, go ahead and grab that. If you have a blanket, go ahead and grab that. This time we're placing the block right between the knees. Right between the thighs. Come into this strong posture one more time. Feel how, I like to call the block kind of like our training wheels because we can feel already so much steadier here, or at least I do. So tripod of the feet, legs strong, not rigid. Squeeze those glutes. Pelvic bone moves up towards the belly button. And again, that rib cage drops down. We don't bring the shoulders with it. I like to talk about the shoulders and the arms as being this really luxurious scarf that drapes across the torso. So instead of being all rigid like this, our arms are super graceful and relaxing. The power is coming from our center, as we know. Now, when you're ready, drop straight down. Looks like this from the side. Bone building. You're going to start to get really warm if you aren't already. Now, let's engage better. Rock the weight a little bit more into your heels. Lift your toes up if you want to challenge yourself. Now, you can see a little arch in my low back. So what I've got to do is lift that pubic bone up. I'll do it one more time so you can see. Lift that pubic bone up. Look how my whole body, my whole upper body lengthens. Ears, shoulders, hips alignment. Draw the head back. And then we inhale the arms up. The arms are being actually locomoted also kind of out of the center. Exhale down. Check in with where you have more weight. Inhale up. You can drop your toes down if you're straining the tops of your feet. Make sure you don't put too much weight in them. Exhale down. Belly still engaged. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Hold there for a moment and just feel. How light can you make your arms? When we feel light, we're using the right tools. Exhale down. Straighten up. Shake that out. Block in between it one more time. All right, now drop down. This time we're moving into a diagonal shape. So notice my ears, shoulders, hips are all still on the same diagonal shape. I'm not collapsing, nothing like that. Rock the weight back into your heels. Inhale, arms up. Exhale down. Inhale up, Shoulder blades come together, collarbones broaden, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. One more time, inhale up. Now, how can you make your head and shoulders feel light? How can you make your toes feel like feathers are brushing the floor? Are you feeling this in your low back? Guess what? I can tell you what's happening. Your belly isn't engaged enough. Mine wasn't. Let the shaking happen. Let the feeling happen, that therapeutic change. Exhale down. Come all the way up. Let's take a little windmill. I like to reset here. Separate your feet and then let your body move naturally. So turn onto your opposite toe. Feeling this twist. So this is our twisting for today because we've got a lot of very symmetrical things we're doing. So again, even the twisting is moving out of center. This is our fulcrum point. Okay, one more time. Grab that block. Now we're really starting to challenge ourselves here. Same thing. You're dropping straight down, ears, shoulders, hips, all in alignment, belly up and in. Belly supporting the arms. Center is supporting the arms. Upper belly and lower belly in this unification is supporting the lightness of the arms. Now, we're going to, this is what I love. We're moving into releasing this habit of how we breathe, and we're strengthening the respiratory system. So take a nice deep inhale. Exhale. Exhale, arms up, breaking a pattern. Inhale, arms down. Continue. Exhale. You may notice that you're just naturally inhaling up, or habitually, I should say. Exhale down. If you're confused, remember what I said earlier. I said it just now. So exhale up. Confusion leads to learning and breaking of habits. Inhale down. You may only get to here with your inhale. That's fine. That's natural in the beginning. Exhale up. We're holding. Inhale down. Rock that weight into the heels. Exhale up. Belly's engaged. Keep it there. Inhale down. Watch your jaw and tongue. Exhale up. Hold here. How light can you get your arms? Your fingers don't even really need to be engaged that much here. How light can you get your arms? We're holding them up there with the serratus muscle, and really we're girding ourselves through this rib cage, being aligned well. Inhale down. Stand up for a moment, take a breath, take a breather. Feel all of that activity starting to awaken or being invigorated all throughout your body from the center, really flowing from that center. And I use the word center a lot. Maybe you've noticed I use it more than core. I'm not like that happy with the word core, so I like to say center because it's, when we think of core, we think of like just here. But our center is really our glutes and our hamstrings and our groins and all the hip flexors and all this, the psoas. So I like to relanguage that a little. Okay, drop down, come into a diagonal shape, press into the back of the head, take a nice deep inhale, rock the weight to the heels, exhale up, inhale down. Exhale up, breaking this habit of always having to inhale out and exhaling down. Exhale up. That doesn't mean that's not a good way to do it. It's a beautiful way to do it. But we can also find some respiratory strength, and we can find some, habit breaking here. Why isn't this way good also? Maybe we never thought about it. Inhale down. Exhale up. Inhale down. Exhale up and hold. How can you make your arms light or lighter? By engaging your center, by engaging your belly, pressing into your heels, feeling that heel glute connection, pressing into the thighs, feeling that stability and strength of the legs. Breathing from the diaphragm. Stand all the way up, take that block out. You can move it out of the way and take some nice windmills. Coming up onto your opposite toe so you don't twist your knee. Notice the breath response. We always notice that. That's where the yoga happens, what the word yoga, union, means. Okay. Step those legs apart. We're coming into goddess. Now, if we hyperextend our knees here, I'm going to do this sideways so you see my body. I've got a really good one for this. Then we have this thing going on. We're totally spilling out here. We've got our low back. That's really taking a lot of pressure. So we've got to bend our knees first to give us the platform of bringing our pubic bone up. So we bend our knees and press our knees back. And then draw that pubic bone up. Look at the difference. I'll do it one more time. So from here to here to here. Okay. As much as possible, get your knees directly over your heels. If you've got to come in a little bit just because you have things going on, that's totally fine. You'll still get the benefit. When you're ready, descend. Manually press your hands into your inner thighs and press back. Now drop your tailbone, bring that pubic bone up, bring your head towards back body. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down. Watch jaw and tongue. Is your jaw and tongue trying to do this for you? My right toes just were. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Hold. How light can you get your arms? How can you lift your toes? I should rephrase that. How can you lift your toes to find the stability of the feet? Take those thumbs a little bit more towards back body, bring that pubic bone up, drop those shoulders into the sockets, out of our joints. Take a nice deep inhale, exhale, inhale, arms down. Sink lower if you can. Exhale, arms up. Joyful movement. Inhale, arms down. Exhale, arms up. Inhale, arms down. Exhale, arms up. Inhale, arms down. Palms to heart center. Straighten your legs, heel toe all the way in. Find your, I like to call this pose, mountain is a beautiful name for it. I love to call it, just for the language of action that I like to employ, I really like to call it equal standing. That makes us think about which side we're leaning to or what area we're leaning to, forward or backwards. Find your strength. Finding implies that you're not creating it, it's already there. Tripod of the feet, strong legs. That slight moving up and in. Find your 3 fingers one more time. Let's access this from our standing pose. Take your fingers right underneath that belly button. Right where that 3rd finger is, just press in and up. That's the movement that we're looking for here. Don't hyperextend your knees as you do that. Don't lift your shoulders as you do that. Let your center be your center. Your shoulders don't have that action or function. Your feet don't have that action or function. Yet we try to bypass through our rigidity and through our misunderstanding of our own bodies. Shoulders are draping like your most beautiful scarf, cashmere, silk, wool, that material that you love, just draping over your shoulders, feeling luxurious. Head is finding its home by drawing back through the throat. Now feel the connection to the floor, to the earth underneath. Feel the connection to the sky, to the heavens above. Feel how strong you are. Feel how strong your body is. Feel how connected you are. Feel how aligned, how balanced you are. And feel how brilliant, powerful, and beautiful you are. Gathering our palms together by bending our elbows. And thank you all for letting me guide you through our afternoon.